Welcome to your Joyful Riches podcast, where you gain precious tips and tools for creating your beautiful, awesome, thriving life for you and your loved ones. This podcast is delivered alongside G100 Global Networking and powered by Anchor FM. And for this week, we are so thrilled and honored to have Jennifer with us. Welcome, Jennifer. Would you care to share with our audience what is it that you do?
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I work in the energy fields. I clear people's energy and energies out of spaces and animals and a lot of other things, but work in the energy fields.
Oh wow, that is quite interesting. So that's not everybody that we kind of meet along along the way work in energy field. So that is very unique. So would you care to share with us what brings you to do this? Is it like you kind of like growing up as a teenage, you're like, I want to work in energy field, and it sounds kind of woo-woo. And to be honest, when I first
Exactly, there's a lot of people who feel that.
Bring you to it?
Actually, I've been very sensitive my whole life and intuitive. But growing up, it wasn't something that you told people because it wasn't acceptable. But I knew before the phone rang who was calling. I knew when loved ones had passed before we got that call. And I worked for 23 years as an executive in a not-for-profit, and I worked with cancer patients directly, a lot of one-on-one with individuals, and I knew what they needed as an advocate before they would even tell me. And so my intuitiveness grew, and I was introduced to energy clearing, and it changed my life because being exposed to people who are struggling with any disease, but cancer particularly is a very frightening disease. And I was picking their energy up all the time. And we pick energy up from people and places our whole life. And so when I found energy clearing, it helped to relieve the burdens of energy for me. And I thought, wow, this changed my life. I need to pursue this and make it part of my life. And I like to say I graduated from my executive position and am doing my energy clearing full time now because I can do it worldwide and help more people than just the small area of people I helped in my corporate agency.
Oh wow, that is very interesting. So what you're saying is like when we go day to day, we're meeting people and at work and things like that, regardless of what you do, we're picking up people energies. That's what you say. Okay.
And more people are more apt to pick up energy than others. Some of us are more sensitive than others, and some of us aren't as aware of it. But it can be very burdensome. In fact, I used to do an event where thousands of people would attend the event, and I emceed the event, and it was a fundraising event. And a lot of the people who attended were clients of mine or the family of clients. And after this day, I would see these people and I would see the family without that loved one with them anymore, or I'd see the family and that person would be there in a wheelchair or whatever. But I picked up all the love and the loss from all these people. And literally it would take me 3 days to get over this. I would sleep for 3 days because I was so burdened with all of the energy. And once I found energy clearing, it released that for me. And I was able to just do the event and go out with friends and have a meal and that kind of thing. So, a lot of us don't realize why we're the way we are, why we're stuck, why we're not able to move forward, why we're sleeping so much or sad so often, or energy is depleted. It's, oftentimes can be because of what we've picked up from other people and places.
Oh, wow, that is so interesting. So let's say somebody who noticed that every time they go to social gathering or certain type of social gathering, and then, or maybe even certain event at work or something, and then they're like, oh my God, I'm so drained every time I do this or that. It could be because they're picking up all this energy and they might get along with them. That is so interesting. And then you notice, so it was going from 3 days, you need to sleep for 3 days. And then once you do energy clearing, how many hours do you need to sleep?
It was normal. I would, after the event, it was an all-day event. After the event, I'd go out with friends for a meal, go home and sleep overnight, and the next day I was perfect because I had released that energy. I had, clearings done for me during the process and then afterwards, and I was fine. And I just thought I was exhausted because all the energy I was exerting, but it wasn't that. It was because of all the energy that I was collecting from all of the people. Because again, they're walking this walk in honor of someone that passed or someone that's ill. And, so there's a lot of emotion there that I was picking up. So, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. So in a way, I mean, for us who love to be productive, it's actually help our productivity, because if you
Absolutely.
to go to an event, particularly if it's part of your job, you go to an event and then you go like, I gotta go sleep for 3 days. Like, yeah, I mean, that's just not helpful with productivity, I imagine.
Exactly.
That is so interesting and so fascinating. And then my questions is, how do people,
Sorry, excuse me.
that's okay. That's okay. How do people learn? How do people, like, for everyone that's doing a regular of everyone in their daily life, is there a way for them to say, you know what, I probably can benefit from energy clearing, or at least or something like that? Is there some way that people on a day-to-day basis?
Excuse me, my allergies are bothering me. I really apologize. It's a little trick that you can also use. So if you're knowing you're going into a group, a hospital, a nursing home, something to that effect, that has a lot of energy in it, you can, just mindfully set a barrier, set a boundary between you and everyone's energy. And I teach my grandson to pretend he's putting on a t-shirt that says shields up. And he knows that means that no one energy is going to get him because he's highly sensitive. If he's in kindergarten and someone sitting next to him is crying, he's going to cry. Or if they're angry, he's going to get angry. So the same thing kind of works for us. We can walk into an area and just block it mindfully. So that's a way that we can help it. Now, all of us can remember as a child walking home from school, walking into a room, and just kind of knowing that mom and dad are having a discussion. We need to not be here. You walk in and you feel something. You feel like, oh, there's been an argument, or so-and-so's in trouble. I'm going to go out and play, or I'm going to go into my room. And even as a child, we pick up those things. And that's the energy that the rooms hold. I am so very sorry. I have no control over it. Anyway, so that's that's another way we feel energy, and homes hold energy. And I lived in a cabin at one point in time that was a 200-year-old cabin, and it was the home of a school marm of the first school in the county that I live in. And the energy in that place was just burdensome. I would be active when I was at work all day. I'd go home and plan to go on a bike ride and do all these outdoor activities. But as soon as I get home, my energy would go, ooh. And it just sucked the life out of me. So I had the building cleared by a good friend. And once the building was cleared, I didn't have that issue anymore.
Well, that's really interesting. That's interesting. So one cue would be you go and do something, or I hear you where you kind of like walk in the room and you're like, ew, something's off here with the people here. I better get the heck out of here. And,
right.
and with grief and the heart med, we actually shows that it's partly what's the vibrations of the heart, which is energy, right?
Right.
Vibrations of the heart. Nowadays, the study shows that's what's going on in your heart. Using EKG, those EKG reading, they actually shows it changed, let's say, like you said, the emotions, the anger or the sadness, it changed your own EKG, but also it will change the EKG of a person or a dog across the room without them even communicating, which is kind of like, all right, nothing connected here. So it must be some kind of energy field, which is in the past we used to think it's kind of like all boo, but that's interesting.
Right.
You mentioned about the the house that you were the cabin you said you
Mhm.
fine at work, and then you go in the go home, and then you suddenly feel really tired. So it's not only people, it's things and house and such
Yeah.
can happen.
Antiques can hold energy. If you were to bring an antique home and there was some energy from that antique from whatever, centuries old it was or how old it was, you could bring it into your home and then things can happen in your home. I've had stories where corporations, and I'm working with one right now, a corporation moved into a new place and all of a sudden their employees weren't getting along and things weren't going as smooth. And one example was the company that was there prior to this moving in was a slaughterhouse. And so then, you have all of this going on, and then you change the facility and make it into this business site, and people were angry and frightened, and there's all this fear. And then once the facility was clear, people could go back to work normally. But we just don't realize how much energy dust, I guess you could say, just lingers in places that we can pick up. I used to have, staff members who, when they would come in to the building, you just felt different because they were going through things in their own life. So they brought that emotion with them. So yeah, it's been amazing. It's been such a change in my life. So I pursued it and studied hard and became a practitioner. And I'm happy to be able to provide it for individuals so that it can change their life as well. It removed a lot of blocks for me and helped me to move forward in a lot of ways.
So that is so interesting. So for all of us who own businesses, and sometimes we kind of like, okay, we got to move business, and then I actually know one person as we speak, somebody came into mind. This person has a flourishing, like top-notch business, and in here in Los Angeles area, and actually last speaking to these persons, they moved not terribly long ago, and then it's been tough. So I wonder if they need to consult you because
Sure.
in the previous place, right? And so that's very interesting how this, I never even thought about this, how this apply to corporations and companies.
Well, yeah, if you had a company that went out of business or had a lot of turmoil, maybe there were partners that get along, and then somebody else moves into that building, that energy can still be there. And so the energy is, once that energy is cleared, then things can calm down again.
That is so beautiful. Thank you for that example about how this applied to business. What about for individuals? I mean, some of us, I mean, I honestly, like, I'm like, do I really would care about going to energy? But do you have example how this might apply with individuals, particularly like a certain life event or something like that?
Well, I can do a specific type of clearing for individuals who are going through different treatments or use different medications. So some people have medications that make them sick. They're necessary to stabilize their body in some way, but on the side effects make them sick. I can clear the adverse effects of medications. I use it for cancer patients, doing a clearing for the adverse effects of the chemotherapy and adverse effects of any of the other medications they're taking, so that they don't lose their hair, they're not getting sick from the chemo, that kind of thing. I did first one that comes to mind is a good friend's husband went through prostate cancer, and so that was radiation. And when you get radiation for prostate cancer, let's just say radiation is where the sun doesn't shine. For an individual. So this very sensitive, tender skin, and radiation can cause burns and cause issues in the colon. So I cleared him throughout the process, and he never got any burns. Radiation can also cause extreme fatigue. He never got fatigue. He golfed every day after his radiation, and the last day of his treatment, he had a hole-in-one. So, and I've cleared people who never lost their hair during their treatments and whatnot. So those are specific things you can clear. Just an individual who has, I cleared a lady who had gone through a divorce, had another bad relationship. I cleared her home and her 3 sons. And shortly after that, she just started the business that she always wanted to start, and she's been very successful and very happy ever since that happened. So it just depends what blockages that energy. Is it fear that's blocking you? Is it anxiety or anger that's maybe blocking you moving forward? All the emotions come up when we do clearings.
Oh, that is so awesome. So and you said you clear individuals and the emotions, and so kind of like some people. And I imagine that I work, as you already know, I work with clients with grief, and sometimes, I mean, we recognize that there is a part of grief that words cannot touch, and yes, a lot of them are fully help with the tools, with the 4 prongs 3-dimension approach that I do, but some people that kind of like still there's something slightly caught up, and I wonder if that would work with that as well. And you mentioned even clearing like individual homes, so you actually do kind of like the home instead of the energy from just the people. Is that what you say?
Right. I clear the space that they live in, whether it's an apartment or a home or whatnot. And when I clear the home, then I clear the individuals that live there as well, so that their energy is then balanced with the new energy of the home. And oftentimes you'll find things in the home that are from past residents. Sometimes the primary disturbance is somewhere outside of the home, maybe a hospital nearby or a prison nearby or something else that's causing the unrest in the home. And those are things that I find out when I'm doing the clearing.
So that is wonderful that when say somebody is moving into a new home, or if they are going to sell their home, maybe even.
Right. So we cleared your home when you were going to sell your condo. We did a clearing there for the condo and a clearing for you. And I'm happy to say that condo did sell. And and because it was very interesting clearing your home to find out the amount of grief that I found in your office. And you yourself are very, very good at and powerful at protecting yourself as you're counseling, but that grief was lingering in your home. So it was really good that we cleared your home, because the new people who walked in could probably feel something. They might not have known it was grief, but they might be able to feel something, and then maybe not be interested in buying the home because there was so much sadness in that area.
That is interesting. Now I remember you mentioned that. I remember that somebody mentions this to me, and I'm like, okay, and I'll give it a try. And you're like, there's so much grief in there. What the heck are you doing? I'm like, I'm a grief coach. What the heck do you want?
There you go. That makes such good sense.
And you were asking me, I'm like, are you doing? I'm like, no, I'm a grief coach. So I am fine, but it doesn't mean, oh, like you said, so it's somebody else in the corporations that you said. So it could interfere people from wanting to buy the home, I guess, if they could feel it, or if somebody actually buy it and moving in and they're not as strong as I am, so to say, because you said everybody's different, then
Right.
it could impact them. So this is something that's good even for people who wants to move into a new home or want to sell their home or something like that.
Exactly. And I've had, such success with animals, especially animals that have been neglected or abused. I can give you an example of a horse that I had that was wouldn't let anybody near it. And when I did the clearing, I didn't do it in person. I did it remotely, and I felt that around the horse's face and neck, I felt a lot of fear and a lot of pain. And I explained when I did the clearing to the owner, and she said that the horse wouldn't let anybody near the horse's face or neck, and that there was many scars, like someone had, hurt that horse. And after I worked with it and did clearings for this horse for some time, the horse lets people ride it, and it's normal and loving and caring now, because it had been so neglected and abused. It was afraid of people and afraid of pain. So releasing that energy around all of it helped that horse.
Wow, that is so fascinating. So you can clear animal. Now I remember, you know what? I just realized one thing. Honestly, to be honest, right now, the medical part of me being a board certified veterinarian, there's a part of me saying, Animal, that's kind of woo. But okay, I'm going to be transparent. So Mr. Kid here, my cat, and many of the audience here know Mr. Kid. Mr. Kid used to just despise travel, and every time we go to a hotel, which he has to do from time to time, he would hide for days. And to my delight and to my surprise and great delight, these times when after we sold the home, we're in temporary housing until the next one, and because of my work. But this one, and I don't know if it has to do anything, or but I remember you said you just now
I cleared him too. Yes.
You cleared him too. So I don't know if it has anything to do with that, but in here, he got here and he has been comfortable. I mean, he usually hide for 5 days. He hide for about an hour.
Yeah.
So that's interesting.
Yeah. And it's oftentimes I clear, if people are traveling, I clear the hotel rooms for them. Because again, hotel rooms have a turnover constantly. People are being there. And I had, experiences in myself. I did a lot of traveling in my lifetime where you'd get to this hotel room. It was absolutely beautiful. And that you tossed and turned all night long, because whoever, left their energy there. So, I do that for myself. I always clear the room and clear the bed that I sleep in prior to, spending my evenings so that I can get a good rest in a hotel room. So
that is
it's pretty versatile work. And it sounds like you said, there's people who say, well, this is really woo-woo. Well, yeah, but again, it's real, and I connect to your energy field and I help release these things. And I'm also considered a rescuer. And for this may even sound even more woo-woo, but if you think that you have a spirit in your home, I can help to release the spirit into the light as well. And I've done that on multiple occasions. And it's just part of clearing if there's one in the home that I'm doing.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, Einstein says everything is energy, and
yes.
you cannot create or destroy. You just transmute it from one or the other. I mean,
yes.
even have a grief coach. As a grief coach, we recognize that grief is an energy. We have this really fancy term called STIRP. And it stands for short-term energy releasing behavior. It has to do with the behavior of the grievers, but the middle set word is there, the energy. It's like grief is a lot of energy, and people need to release it one way or the other, which sometimes causing more damage and more grief, unfortunately, without proper guidance. But everything is energy, and it just transmute from one energy to another. So that is so wonderful. Thank you so much for educating us about how energy can impact us, and how you can help, particularly for people, like you said, if something's not going right, whether it's your business or you need to have a treatment or one thing or another, or you
just feel stuck, you feel overburdened, or maybe you're working on a project and it's not going anywhere. That personal clearing can help release the energies that holding you back. And I've seen so many people move forward and, get past the stumbling blocks and make things happen after clearing. So, it's quite rewarding for me to see, and the intuitive hits that I get while I'm clearing people. I feel things, I see things, I hear things. So oftentimes my intuition brings forth an understanding as to what type of things are clearing when we're doing the process.
Yeah, and it's a lot of time doing good for you, and then doing good for other people as well. In the long run, it's kind of like, I mean, your example just now with my home, I kind of forget about it. But if you were a realtor and you're like, something's iffy about this house, and and you happen to be the buyer agents or something, or even the seller agent, right? You want the buyer to be happy afterward. And if it's like a house full of grief energy, just because
yeah, it was so sad in your office, just so sad,
right? Yeah. Somebody happened to be therapist, and the new person's moving there, and this is not right, that's not right. That wouldn't be good for anybody, not just that person, but the agent. So that is right. So interesting. That's so interesting. How do people connect with you to know more about
thank you for asking. You can go to my website. It's JenniferLaneRiefler.com. So it's JenniferLeifer LANERIE, F like in Frank, LER.com.
Super, super.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your amazing brilliance. Do you have a
Thank you.
final message for our audience?
I would just say that I think it's important for all of us to be in touch with our feelings and in touch where they're coming from, and be mindful when you walk in a room or walk in an office as to how you felt before you got there, and or how you feel around certain people. Certain people drain us because they're in a bad place. And just prepare yourself. If you have to go to that office every day, prepare yourself by, putting your shields up. I mean, you could even in your mind just hang a pretend sign that says closed for business, or I'm not accepting your energy. And it's just something you do in your head, and as silly as it may sound, it really does work. And that helps provide some type of a blockage for us. But also, the last thing is to remember that we pick up energy from the moment we're us. So from the moment that doctor smacked you on the behind till today, we have energy that we experience. And everybody could benefit from getting an energy clearing. And I believe that sincerely.
So particularly if you notice any aspect of your life is not as fabulous as you would love to be, sounds like definitely you want to check and see how you can benefit from with energy clearing. And you do this, I think you mentioned remotely as well, right?
Yes, I do it remotely. I do it in person. And it seems like since COVID, almost all of it's remotely. I do have some people that come to my home office, and I go to people's homes sometimes, and it's just as powerful as if I do it on a Zoom, because I typically do a Zoom meeting with people that are out of my range, or a phone call if people prefer, but it's just as powerful if I do it that way. And I have clients all over the world, so no complaints. No one's complained so far. So
super. Thank you so much, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing your brilliance and your insights and wonderful tools. So appreciated that you're here with us today. And for you, my friend, who are joining us today, please share these tips and tools with your family and friends, because everybody want and deserve to thrive and feel more at ease and succeed. And please share your feedback and one or two gold nuggets that you gain from this in the comment below. So together we can continue learning from each other. And this is Dr. Birgit Tan, your G100 Global Networking United States Country Chair and grief specialist and founder of the International Childhood Cancer Charity. It's been an honor and a delight to be with you today, and I look forward to see you again very, very soon.
Thank you.